You've had a feeling that it made everything right with that woman, said the right words. It was kind, attentive, perhaps even praised in the right measure. But still, she just lost interest. It disappeared, avoided, stopped responding as before. And then you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? The truth, my friend, is that the mistake is not what you said, but what you didn't do. There is something that separates men who are ignored from men who leave a woman mentally attached to them. And no, it has nothing to do with look, status, or money. It is much more subtle and powerful. Today, you will find out the hidden gesture that activates a silent emotional obsession within a woman's mind. An almost imperceptible movement that sends a direct signal to the feminine subconscious, activating desire, curiosity, and deep emotional attraction. It's like a secret emotional password that few men know how to use, and so live in rejection and frustration cycles. This gesture is almost like emotional hypnosis, and the most interesting, when you learn to use it naturally, without seeming forced, you are seen as that rare man, that man who does not run after, but is followed, that you need not prove anything, because it carries in itself the posture, presence, and energy that cause attraction without saying a single word. If you are tired of feeling that you always deliver too much and get little, of being the cool guy who ends up forgotten or just one more in the crowd, then you need to pay attention to every second of this video. Because the game of seduction has changed, and men who learn to play with emotional intelligence and silent language are dominating modern connections. And this is not a manipulation. We are talking about understanding the real psychology of female desire. The true attraction begins even before the conversation, before the touch, before the kiss. It starts the moment you enter the environment and transmit non-verbal signs that make you think of you, even without knowing why. This is the domain level you will access here. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you will understand the invisible gesture that changes everything, which separates the ordinary man from the magnetic man. And I assure you, after learning this, you will never be ignored the same way. But before revealing this technique, you need to understand why it works so well and why most men fail miserably without even realizing it. Let's talk about it now. But before revealing you this invisible gesture that creates a deep emotional connection and makes her think of you constantly, I need you to do something simple but powerful. Leave here in the comments a phrase that symbolizes your change from today. It can be something like, I no longer accept being ignored, or now I will master the game of attraction. Why is this important? Because when you write, you commit yourself. And when you commit, you transform yourself. This video is not just another content that you watch and forget. It is a turning point. This is where you are no longer forgotten to become the man who is present without having to beg for attention. Then comment now. I read every comment and want to see who is really ready to change this game. Oh, and if this content is already opening your eyes, click the like now. This helps the video to arrive in more men who are also tired of being ignored. And of course, you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because here I don't bring empty theory. Here it is practical, it is straightforward, it is true transformation. Now let's go on. Because you are about to find out why this hidden gesture is so efficient and how it acts directly on the female emotional brain, activating triggers that it doesn't even realize. Let's go. What most men still don't understand, and perhaps this is why so many are still ignored or forgotten, is that the emotional obsession doesn't start with words. It is not about saying the right things, having the sentences decorated, or repeating conversation techniques. The real attraction, the one that enters her mind and doesn't leave, starts even before you open your mouth. It is born in the small details, in the almost invisible microgestos, which trigger a silent and powerful sign. This man is different. You know that moment when you enter an environment and without saying anything, does anyone notice you? Without making effort, without forcing charisma. This is because your body speaks before you. And when he speaks with authority, self-confidence, and emotional scarcity, she feels. The woman feels. Do not rationalize. He doesn't understand why, but she feels. And this is pure psychology. The female brain reacts much more to what you convey than what you say, and when you dominate it, she gets emotionally prey to you without even knowing why. Now, pay attention. The gesture that activates this obsesses. They are emotional is simple, but it requires presence and awareness. First, when talking to her, or even when she first noticed her, maintain firm but calm eye contact. It is not a challenge look, but a presence look. You look at her like who is really there, whole, without haste. Then I sustain the look for 2 or 3 seconds, and then slowly dodge a slight smile. And here is the detail. You do not divert like those who have lost interest, but as those who chose not to demonstrate everything at once. It is a silent message that you are not needy, that you are in control of your energy. Shortly thereafter, slightly tilts your body to the opposite side. This subtle micro-gest communicates something extremely powerful. I'm here, but I'm not desperate to be accepted. This generates emotional scarcity. And the scarcity in the game of attraction is gold, because what is scarce is valuable, and what is valuable is desired. Do you notice logic? And then comes the silence. The silence. Comfortable silence is one of the most underrated weapons of seduction. When you do not feel the need to fill every second with words, you show that you are comfortable with yourself. And this, for a woman, is one of the biggest signs of emotional value and social dominance. The man who can keep silence without seeming uncomfortable, without looking lost, passes the image of someone who knows who he is and does not need to prove himself. And that kind of man is in her head. It's like lighting an emotional spark without having to touch the lighter. Because what matters is not the gesture itself, but what this gesture conveys in invisible layers. Internal power, emotional control, and aura of mystery. And then comes another psychological factor. Her brain will seek explanations for this behavior. You will try to understand why you do not act like others. Why do you look so present, so safe, so different? And this search process is what creates emotional obsession. She starts wondering who you are, what you are thinking, why you look so carefree. And these questions are taking space in her mind. The more questions she has about you, the more space you occupy in her thoughts. And it happens without you say anything, because the language of desire is silent, emotional, and almost always unconscious. And now it tells me, how many times have you tried to be the perfect guy in words, but forgot to observe your gestures? How many times have you been trying to impress with sentences, but did not realize that your body language said exactly the opposite? So it is. The change begins now, and if you are with me here, it is because something is awakening inside. Then it proves me that you understood the power of the silent gesture. Comments down here, I am the man she will remember, or silence is power. I want to see who is really absorbing this transformation. This is not just about seduction here. It is about emotional mastery, about knowing its value and letting it slowly discover it without having to say a word. But this is just the beginning, because now we will deepen even more. Pay attention. Now that you have understood the power behind nonverbal communication and the almost hypnotic impact that a simple gesture can have on the female subconscious, it's time to go beyond theory. You need to apply, because knowing without applying is the same as not knowing. And in this seduction game, what counts is how much you can turn this knowledge into presence, posture, and real result. The obsessive attraction does not happen by chance. It's constructed strategically, emotional, and especially silent. Let's make it clear one thing. Before any interaction, you need to master your body language. This means being aware of what your body conveys, even when you are silent. If you enter a curved environment, looking down, stirring your phone, conveying anxiety or disconnect, forget it. You have already lost the game even before you started. Now, when you get erect, quiet, with loose shoulders, the look exploring the environment calmly and presence, you activate an automatic value reading. Her brain instinctively captures it. The body communicates, "I'm in control." This is a silent attraction in pure state. At the time of conversation, don't try to impress with decorated phrases. The key is to use the gesture at the right time. Choose a moment when you say something intriguing that generates curiosity or even a slight emotional discomfort. Not in the negative sense, but in the sense of arousing in it a desire to know more about you. It can be a comment like, "People always try to understand what I think, but I don't always let it clear." And right now, you sustain your eyes, hold the silence for 2 or 3 seconds, and then slowly diverts with a half-discreet smile, like a secret. This creates a emotional kuna, a space that she unconsciously will try to fill, and that's where she gets involved. After that, don't speak. Do not try to explain. Do not break the charm, trying to justify what I meant. Let the silence work for you. The woman who feels a comfortable man in silence understands one thing. This guy has value. He is not anxious for approval. He doesn't have to prove himself, and this is highly seductive. The truth is that the more you speak trying to show who you are, the more you lose strength. But when you show security in what is not said, you become unforgettable. Remember that feeling of being close to someone and wondering all the time that person is thinking? This is what you start to provoke in it. Doubt becomes desire, the mystery becomes magnetism. Because deep down, what moves a woman's mind most is not what you say, but what you make her feel without saying anything. This is what creates emotional obsession. It is this kind of presence she seeks, even if she doesn't know how to put in words. And now I want to invite you to put it into practice today. The next time you are in a conversation with a woman, try doing just that. Say something that instigates you. Keep your look for a few seconds. Swerve with a slight smile, slightly tilts your body back, and silence. Observe the reaction. You will notice something different, maybe a longer look of her. Perhaps a touch of curiosity in the gestures, or even a comment wanting to understand more about you. This is the obsession beginning to be born, slowly, silently, but deeply. And since you got here, I want to know, have you ever lived a moment when a simple gesture has completely changed the way a woman reacted to you? Tell me in the comments. And if you never lived, comments now. From today, my presence will talk louder, or I dominate silence. I want to see who is really willing to transform the way it connects with women. And of course, if this content has made sense to you, if you opened your eyes in any way, it already leaves the like. This helps this video a lot to reach more people like you. Subscribe to the channel and activates the bell because every week has new content with real, psychological, high-value techniques to master the game of attraction and become the kind of man that no woman forgets. Let's go together because in the next video, I'll show you how this gesture connects to something even more powerful, the ability to make it run after you without you having to insist. Stay tuned.